guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be all about self-tanners, and I'm really excited about this video because self-tanning is one of my favorite subjects. I love self-tanning. I love getting spray tans, I love being bronzed and glowy, and I'm naturally extremely fair. Like, I'm very, very white, very, very pale, and so I personally prefer having a little bit more color on my skin, but I try to do it in a more healthy way, so that is why I love self-tanning and spray tans so much. Now, I understand that self-tanning is not for everybody. I don't think there's anything wrong with embracing a fair skin tone, so please don't feel like I'm pressuring you guys into self-tanning, but I've gotten so many questions and so many requests to talk more in depth about self-tanning, and that is why I'm making this video for you guys. So I have a few videos on my channel that are more in-depth and more focused on one specific self-tanner. So I'll link some reviews and more details down below if you guys want to check those out. But in today's video, I'm just going to be going over all different kinds of self-tanners. So I have a bunch of lotions, mousses, creams, I have high-end, I have drugstore. I've got a ton of different self-tanners that I'm just going to be reviewing for you guys and telling you guys if I like it, if I don't like it, pros and cons, would I recommend it or not, and just give you guys a very overall, very general, rounded review and explanation of different self-tanners. I've also gotten a few requests on my channel to do a self-tanning routine, so definitely give this video a thumbs up if you guys would like to request a self-tanning routine, or leave it down in the comments below so that I know that y'all want to see that. So I'm going to start off with mousses, work my way into lotions, and then we're going to do some face tanners. And we're going to start off with my very favorite, top recommended self-tanner of all time, and that is Vita Liberata. So this is the Vita Liberata Luxury Tan Phenomenal Mousse, and this is a mousse application, and this is my all-time favorite. So this one is definitely the most expensive self-tanner that I'm going to be sharing with y'all today. This is a pricey number, but it's so worth it. It's super, super long wearing, and it looks so beautiful and so natural on the skin. This is the one that I would use as a self-tan, spray tan replacement. So if I didn't have time to go get a spray tan, or if I didn't want to pay the money to get a spray tan, then I would use this instead. And it is expensive, but if you're comparing it to how many uses you get versus what you would get from the price of a spray tan, I think it definitely balances out. I really love this one because it has absolutely zero fragrance to it, and I am not exaggerating when I say that. Most self-tanners do have a burned skin smell, either once it's developed or it already has a scent when you first apply it to the skin, and this one does not have a fragrance. It smells a little weird once it develops, like you can tell something's there. It doesn't smell like nothing, but it definitely doesn't smell like self-tanner, and it doesn't smell gross, and when you first apply it, it dries extremely quickly. You smooth it onto the skin, it dries really fast. It feels very natural. It feels like your skin once it's dry. Like you can barely feel that there's anything on you, and it doesn't smell bad. And the color is very natural looking. This one's the medium, but they do a dark as well if you want more of a deeper tan. If I'm doing like a super special event, or if I am going on like a cruise or something and I want to be like extra dark, I would do dark, but on a regular basis I stick with medium because I feel like it looks more natural. And this one just looks like a bronze tan, like it looks brown. It doesn't have a green color guard to it, so it doesn't look very olivey and very warm, but it just looks like the most natural, gorgeous tan ever, and that is why I love this one so much. And Vita Liberata is an amazing company as well. I think that they are a great brand to purchase from, and this is just definitely my highest recommendation for self-tanner. If you guys are wanting something for a wedding, a vacation, a special occasion, and you need it to look good, feel good, smell good, and be super easy to apply, this is very streak-free, looks very natural. It's comfortable to wear out when it's still fresh because it doesn't have a weird color guard. It's just the best self-tanner ever. I swear, it's amazing. The next mousse I'm going to share with y'all is actually also from Vita Liberata, and that's this guy right here, but this one's not their Phenomenal Mousse. So this one's a Phenomenal Mousse, which looks like this, and that means it has like the light as air technology, and it's fragrance free, and it's longer wearing. It claims to be 2 to 3 weeks. I don't think it's 2 to 3 weeks, but it is a very long time, and that one fades really well with Dignity, which is also important so you don't look patchy. This is the more classic Vita Liberata self-tanner, and this this is the one that I have in dark. This is not my special occasion self tanner, but it's one that I would wear if I want to be like extra dark and sexy and glowy. And this one, it just isn't as nice. It's not as comfortable. It's not as long wearing, but it's definitely still a great option. You kind of get what you pay for with these guys. The cheaper one's not as good, but I do highly recommend this one, and I love this one too. The next mousse we're going to talk about, I'm sure y'all have heard of before. I think this is like the most popular self-tanner ever. And this is the St. Tropez Self-Tanner Classic. This is just the baby size, but this one is also a mousse. And this one has a really strong green color guard. Now, what a color guard is it's the initial color that you put on your skin, and that is the cosmetic layer. So that's not the color that your skin is going to be once your tan develops, but it gives you a good guide of where you're applying the product so you don't end up streaky or missing any spots. And it gives you some color to work with if you want to wear that out. Now, I don't like wearing this one out. Like when it's developed, I feel like I have to be at home in pajamas or in bed waiting for it to develop and rinse it off because the color guard is very green. Now, the green's great because it's on the opposite side of the color wheel from red, which is next to orange, which prevents you from looking very terracotta and very orange. And the green base gives you more of like an olivey tan. So if you like that really dark, like very olive tone, you may really enjoy the St. Tropez line. And I definitely like this self-tanner. It's just not as good, in my opinion, as Vita Liberata. I feel like you can get a little darker with St. Tropez just because of that green color guard, but it does look more synthetic. I definitely don't think that this looks like a natural tan. It doesn't look orange to me, and it doesn't look super fake, but it doesn't look natural. So I guess it's just kind of in the middle. It looks like self-tanner in my opinion. It looks like you got a spray tan or you applied self-tanner, which I'm okay with because I like that look, but I know not everyone is okay with that. Now, this one also does have more of a scent to it. I don't like the fragrance of this. Once it's developed, it smells super gross, but you rinse it off, you put on some lotion, you're good to go. It's not a big deal. This one lasts pretty well on the skin as well. And if you want to be super dark, you could go with the dark formula. That one is like borderline too dark for me. Like if I put that on my skin, I'm like scared a little bit. But I really like the original one, and I really like the rapid formula. And those of you who have a deeper skin tone, or if you just like to be extra dark, you might like the dark formula too. The next mousse I have is a drugstore option, and this is the Equate self-tanner, and this one's actually the knockoff of the St. Tropez. You can definitely see the resemblance here, and it says right on here, compared to the St. Tropez self-tan bronzing mousse. Now, this is not as good as St. Tropez. I would definitely put that out there. I think this is about $10, so it's much more price friendly, but it does definitely have a scent. It has a very strong green color guard, and when you apply the color guard, at least I was pretty excited about it, feeling like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a lot like St. Tropez. But once it develops and once you rinse it off, you're left with a pretty subtle color. Also, this one's quite patchy. I don't feel like it ever looks very like smooth and blended. You definitely have to exfoliate and prep your skin with the sucker. If you're using more of a high-end self-tanner, I always recommend prepping the skin, but with like these guys, I feel like they're more forgiving and they'll kind of smooth over dry patches and they'll kind of not crease as easily in like that elbow section here. Whereas this sucker, this will crease, this will be patchy. You wanna make sure you're prepped with it. I'll wear it if I'm not doing something special. If I'm just gonna be like working throughout the week, or I like to be self-tanned like pretty much all the time. So I'm always self-tanned, but this would just be reserved for my not special occasions because it's just cheaper. It doesn't work as well. It doesn't blend as well. And I like to save my really nice ones for special events. The next drugstore option is this guy right here. This is the LA Tan Luxury Sunless Mousse. This is the Black Bronzing Dark Tanner. And this one says on here that it's dark, it says that it is luxury, and it says it's a 2 to 3 week tan. So the reason why I got this is because it looks very reminiscent of this guy, which is my Vita Liberata. And those are 3 points that they say on here. So I thought that these were obviously trying to be copycat, and I wanted to try it out. Now this one was about $10, got it at Walmart, 7 fluid ounces. If it worked, it would have been like the best deal ever. However, I don't really like this one. This is one of my least favorite mousses that I've ever used. And it's not awful, it does work, but the color guard on here is like so dark. Like it's like black, like it's very dark, and you're a little scared when you apply it on. The color guard is definitely not wearable. It's, once you have the self tanner on, it looks very streaky, it looks very dark, and it looks very muddy. Like it will crease in every little inch on your body, and it looks like you've been rolling around in dirt. And that's fine. If the color guard's ugly, I'm just like, whatever. It's not the initial color. Like once you rinse it off and it's developed, as long as that looks good, that's what's important. But in my experience, if the color guard looks crappy, the overall tan tends to look crappy. And usually once you rinse off the color guard, it's definitely more forgiving and more blended. Like don't always freak out if your color guard doesn't look beautiful. But this one, it's like so bad. And this one, I was kind of excited because it's so dark once your color guard is on, but when you rinse it off, you're left with very little color. And I've tried this several times. I've layered it up, I've left it on for longer than it requires. It says 3 to 12 hours, which is like such a weird, like extremely large range of time. But every time I rinse it off, it rinses off so much color guard, and I'm left with like very little color. Like it looks like the tan that you would have from a gradual tanner, not from a mousse. So it's very strange. I'll use it just to like use it up, and when I'm just not doing anything special. I do have to layer it a couple of times, or I'll mix it with like other self tanners just to like get rid of them basically. But I definitely don't recommend this one. I don't think it would be good for a special occasion, and it's more just a pain in the butt to use, but it's not, it works, it's just not the best. So this next self tanner is actually kind of a hybrid. It's a spray self tanner, and this is the Fake Bake Flawless. This is the luxurious golden bronze self tan liquid. Fake Bake has a couple of different self tanners. This one's the like this flawless version. I know they have like a dark one and like other kinds. This is one of the first self tanners that I actually fell in love with. This, I don't recommend spraying it on your body. I think that they say that you can do that. But I really like to spray this onto a mitt or whatever you're using to apply your tan, and then apply it on the skin, because I feel like sometimes if you spray it and then you try to buff it out, if you don't work quick enough, you're left with little spray marks. So I really like this one because it looks like you've been laying out in the sun for a couple of hours. It's definitely not dark. I think they have a darker version, but this one's very natural looking, and it's very easy to use because it dries quickly. And the color that it develops to is not much darker than like your initial color guard. I don't feel like you have to rinse this. I don't feel like it smells terribly bad, and I like how natural and easy it is to use. If you are brand new to self tanning, this is probably the one I would recommend to you. I think this is the most user-friendly, like beneficial self tanner, and I think it's a really great like first self tanner. And this one's also nice too because you can really build it up. And the fact that it looks so natural and like you've been laying out in the sun for a couple of hours is great for being able to like build and customize. So I really like this one. Okay, so that's all the mousses. Let's move on to lotions. The first lotion I'm going to show you guys is the Tanwise lotion, and this is a brand that I got at Sally Beauty Supply. I heard a couple bloggers talk about it, so I decided to check them out. They're pretty inexpensive, and you can definitely, like, they have a lot of options in the range if you want to try out different kinds of self tanners. I've used the mousse from this line, but I used it all and threw it out, so I don't have it to show for you guys. But I do like the mousse from this line. I think it's more basic. I don't think you get a super dark tan, and I don't feel like it's the most user-friendly. It's a little streaky, it's a little patchy, but if you are comfortable with self-tanning or if you have experience with it, I think you can definitely get it to work. And it's one that I really enjoyed and used up the whole bottle. So that's the mousse version. And then this is the creamy tanning lotion, which is just like a cream version of a self-tanner. This one I really don't love. It does its job, but it really will settle in any fine lines or like pores or hair follicles in your arm or legs. If you're not like shaved before you use this, it's gonna like all gather up in the little tiny hair follicles, and it doesn't look the most flawless. I feel like this definitely looks like self-tanner, has a slight like orangey tone to it. It's not awful. It's something that I will definitely continue to use, but the smell is super weird. It's not gross, like it doesn't smell like typical self-tanner, but I definitely don't like the scent. When I have it on and it's developing, I feel like it's a little gross, but it's okay, it does its job, but it's not one that I would recommend. This is my favorite tanning lotion, like a lotion version of a self-tanner. This is the Whish Beauty self-tanner, and I did a whole review on this one, so I'll link it down below if you guys want to see it. But I love this one because it's very luxurious to apply on the skin. It's very comfortable. It smells amazing. It smells like coconuts. Oh, it smells so good. And one of the cool things about this is it's actually like a self-tanner body butter. So it feels like you're applying a thick, luxurious body butter to make your skin extra hydrated, but then it develops and makes you super dark. I love it because it has the most natural terracotta. So it's a warmer self-tanner. Like it's not orange, but it's definitely a warmer base, which I like a little bit more warmth to my skin because I think that more like golden undertone looks really pretty. But I like how dark this one gets. It doesn't get like crazy dark to where I feel like super synthetic, but I feel like it's more than a gradual tanner. I think it's a really, really nice one. And the fact that it's so moisturizing and hydrating makes it a very luxurious experience. And it definitely prevents any like creasing or any, it smooths over really well on dry patches. I just really, really love this one. I think it's a great experience and it actually is beneficial for your skin as well. And you guys can see I only have a little bit left because I love this one so much and I had to save it for this video, but I'm very excited to use it up and I just love this self-tanner. It's a great, great lotion. This next one is another one of my favorites, and this is the Tanceuticals Self Tanner, and this is the CC Color and Correct Body Lotion, and this one is in the shade Dark. Now, I did an entire review dedicated to this guy, so I will link that down below so you guys can see my full thoughts. I do feel like this one's not dark. I feel like it's more of a medium, but they call it a dark. The thing that I love so much about this is it blends so well. It's almost self-blending. It looks very, very natural on the skin and it's very comfortable. It's a very thin consistency and it smells amazing. Oh, it smells so good. But I love this one because it does look very natural. I feel like it looks like you've gotten color from a vacation, but it's definitely not like a really dark spray tan kind of look. I personally prefer being a little darker, which is why I like this one over this one. But this one's a little lighter on the skin. If you want something thin and comfortable, if you don't like sticky like body butters on the skin, then I think you would definitely prefer this one. This one I love because I like that thicker hydrated feel. But this one's great for someone who doesn't like the feel of self-tanner. If you're a beginner and you want something that's gonna blend really well. I also think this one's really good for like day to day, and this one has a lot of skincare benefits to it too. This next self-tanner is extremely popular, and this is the BareMinerals Faux Tan Body. They do have a face version as well, and this one has an extremely green color guard. It's very dark, very green, and it's a little scary when you first apply it, but it does develop really nicely. I think it looks very similar to the St. Tropez mousse once it's on, like with how olive toned it is and how dark it gets, just because of that really strong green color guard. But this one's great for people who are sensitive. A lot of self-tanners are organic. A lot of them are vegan and gluten-free and all that crap, but this is another one of those. This is the, this one's supposed to be really buildable as well, which it definitely does. But I like this one because it's pretty fuss-free. It's not my favorite lotion, but it does get you quite dark, and it's been really popular for a long time for a reason. So it's a good one. It's not, I don't like it as much as like the lighter lotions because for some reason I prefer when my self-tanning lotions are clear, and I like when my mousses are colored. This one's colored. So if you're wanting to try a mousse but you're intimidated by it, maybe go with this one because it does have that color guard. But it is a great option. It wears well, and a lot of people love this. This next one is a drugstore option, and this is the self-tanner that I'm wearing today. It's the Banana Boat Summer Color. This is the self-tanner that I have all over my body right now, and this is the deep dark color. I don't know if they have any other color options, but this is definitely the color I would recommend because I do have a couple of coats of it on my skin right now. Like I put a layer on, let it dry, and then put another layer on because I want it to be a little darker. I don't feel like this is like crazy dark, but it is I think it's supposed to be like a gradual dark tanner, so you put it on, the more you put on, the darker you get. And this one is a self-adjusting color for a natural looking tan. This one's really streak free. It's very easy to apply. It has a color guard, but it's like a very subtle color guard, if you guys can see that. It's like a light brown shade. So you can definitely see where you're applying it, but it's not an intense color guard where you feel like you can't leave the house with it. It's very not noticeable, except enough to be able to make sure you got all the nooks and crannies of your body. So I really, really love this one. It develops really nicely. It's very smooth looking. I don't feel like it creases or gathers in pores. And I think it's a great drugstore option because it's pretty inexpensive and it does a really good job. So I really like this guy. I love this next drugstore option. This is the L'Oreal Sublime Bronze Self-Tanning Gel. This is the only self-tanning gel I've ever used, but you guys can see in the bottle, it's like this super thin liquidy gel consistency, which is actually really nice for applying because it feels very thin, feels very comfortable. It doesn't feel heavy or gross. This one smells really good. It has a fresh citrus scent and it doesn't, I mean, I wouldn't wear it as a perfume or anything, but it definitely doesn't smell like a gross self-tanner. And what's cool about this one is it's very natural looking, but it's very noticeable. So you can apply one thin coat of this and it's enough just to like lift me up a foundation shade or two. So if you want something super natural looking that you could build up if you want to get darker, like over a few days, but you just need like a little bit of color just for like a little more confidence, then this is a great option. This is the medium natural tan and it's very quick drying, very hydrating, feels super comfortable on the skin, and it's just very, very natural, which I love, but it's not one of those gradual tanners that you have to apply like for 4 days in a row before you even see it. So I would consider this a gradual tanner, but I like that you get instant gratification from it the next morning, and it's just a really nice option. I've been holding off on finishing it up just so that I could show you guys in this video, but I really love this. So this is a knockoff brand again. This is the Up and Up brand, which is Target's, they're like knockoffs. And this is the Self-Tanning Firming Daily Moisturizer. I got mine in medium to tan, and this is supposed to be the compared to Jergens Natural Glow Firming Daily Moisturizer. And I've used the Jergens Natural Glow before and I didn't like it. They have like an instant one that I liked better, but I've just never been a fan of them. I don't like the scent. It's hard to get over the fragrance of those, and I just didn't feel like they did enough for me. But I know that they've reformulated the self-tanner, so maybe it's better now, but back when I tried it, I didn't like it. But this is the Up and Up version of the like reformulated Jergens, so I thought I'd give this a go just to see if this like really inexpensive option was any good. This one, you see a little bit of color, like it's more one of those like gradual tanners that you have to apply for a couple days before you really are seeing a lot of color. And I just don't like that. I don't think that that's worth it. If you are like super nervous about turning orange and you want to go with something like that, I guess you could. But I'm more experienced and I like to be darker, and I feel like it's just too much work to be applying this for 3 days before you see color. So I really don't like this. I don't like the scent of it, and I just don't feel like the payoff is worth the effort. And even though it's super inexpensive, I just really don't care for it. Okay, and the last products that I'm going to share with y'all are both face tanners. Now, I very rarely tan my face. For example, today I have on self-tanner all over my body and neck, and then I just wear a darker foundation that matches, but my face is not self-tanned at all. And the reason for that is because I'm constantly washing and exfoliating my skin. I use a Clarisonic on my face, and I just never really like the way that self-tanner looks on my face. So I prefer to just leave it. I'm going to cover it up anyways, and it's just easier that way. So I usually don't self-tan my face, which a lot of people think is weird, and they're like, well, what do you do on days that you don't wear makeup? And I just don't care. So there's that. But when I do self-tan my face, these are definitely my go-tos. I've tried out others. These are the only two that I like. These are the only two face tanners that I've used that I enjoy. And sometimes I'll just go ahead and use like my body self-tanner on my face, but a lot of people can't do that if they have sensitive skin or if they have acneic skin. They can't use those, but I never have a problem with it. But the first one that I love is by Tanceuticals. Again, I have a whole review on this and I'll link it below. But this is the CC Color and Correct Self-Tanning Face Lotion Dark. So it's basically this guy's little sister. And this one is really nice because it's a lighter application. Feels very thin on the face, but it is very moisturizing. So I do feel like I can get away with just using this and not having to use a moisturizer with it. And it doesn't have a scent, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't cling to dry patches, and it is probably like a light to medium color on the skin. So if I am gonna use a self-tan on my face, I do really like this one. This one's the one that I would do if I wanted like a lot of color on my face, if I really wanted my face to look like it was tan. The other option that I like is by Vita Liberata, and this is the Self-Tanning Night Moisture Mask. This one is very gradual, so it's definitely not going to look super tan. This one you have to use a few times before you see color, but I really like this one for just boosting me up a foundation shade or two because it's super moisturizing. It feels very luxurious on the skin, and it's more like a night moisture mask. It's more of a hydrating treatment product that you get a little bit of color with. So I appreciate that it's more skincare based. It's more for making your skin like healthy and glowy and naturally healthy and just beautiful. So I do enjoy that it's more skincare based product with a little bit of color. This one I will use if I just want to give myself a little bit of color, if I want to prep myself for vacation, or if I just want to do something a little bit more luxurious to give me a little pick-me-up. But like I said, most of the time I don't self-tan my face, but these are definitely the two that I would recommend if you are into face tanning, or if you just want a little bit of color, maybe you don't wear foundation and you just need something to even you out. Alright you guys, that's it for all my self-tanners. We went through all the ones that I've tried, all the ones that I love and hate, a bunch of reviews, a bunch of information in one, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will write down every single product that I mentioned in this video down in the description box below so you guys can compare prices and look those up and see where you guys can buy them. And I will leave more details down below, such as related videos or what I'm wearing and things like that. So definitely check that out if y'all have questions, and leave me any comments down below. I want to hear what you guys think of self-tanning, if y'all love self-tanning too, and what self-tanners you guys really enjoy using. And for those of you who have asked about spray tans, my all-time favorite spray tan is in Versa Spas. I really like the Versa Spa with no fragrance and no color booster, and I usually get a medium, but sometimes I will do a dark. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I answered some of your questions, and definitely let me know if you guys want to see a self-tanning routine. I will see you guys in a later video. Mwah!